2025 has been a pretty incredible year for movies. Now, there's definitely been some low points as to be expected, but this year has also brought many of the best movies of the decade with generational acting performances, huge success for unique original stories, beautiful cinematography, and all in between. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down my favorite movies of 2025. Now, before I get into my top 10 movies of the year, I want to first preface that I have not seen every single movie of this year, obviously. I didn't end up getting around to movies like 28 Years Later, The Long Walk, The Phoenician Scheme, Together, and several others, and I most likely won't be able to before the year ends, although I do still plan on seeing them. And also I want to briefly give some honorable mentions, as there were a couple movies this year that just barely missed the list. The first of them actually being Avatar: Fire and Ash. Now, I'll admit it, I have never been the biggest fan of the Avatar franchise. The first one is a solid enough story, but Way of Water was a serious slog to get through. I didn't even finish it until about a month ago. With very flat characters and arcs that just aren't satisfying to watch, and with such a runtime, I feel like the development of these characters would have been way more felt, but then you just get these scenes where you'll have like a main character death, and you can't really feel that bad about it because you haven't really had the time to connect with this character. I just think that movie spends a lot of its time in the wrong places and kind of just gets too lost in the visual sauce of it all. However, I think Way of Water ends in a way that actually sets up a really great third movie. Now, I've heard the complaints that the story is really running thin here, but I think it's taking elements of the first two movies and actually making them interesting to watch. I think this movie adds way more depth to the characters, of which I previously did not care about. The emotional beats actually hit, and the visuals are better than ever. And also, the pacing is surprisingly great with constant great action. Another film that just slightly missed the list was Predator: Badlands. This movie was a really fun watch and an interesting spin on the Predator IP that ended up paying off really well. I think some stubborn old school Predator fans probably aren't a big fan of this movie, but for me, I thought the action was really awesome, the visual effects looked great, and it was just a fun, compelling story that was exciting to follow. If anything, it kind of reminded me of the earlier seasons of The Mandalorian. Mickey 17 was another great one. Robert Pattinson just continues to show his incredible range as an actor with a really powerful story, as well as a really strong supporting cast. And there were some other really good movies this year, like The Naked Gun, Friendship, Fantastic Four, and Rental Family, but let's just get into my top 10. Just narrowly squeezing its way onto the list, I have Weapons at my 10th spot. Weapons has a lot to love about it. This is an amazing cast, and they all get their moments to shine thanks to a really good pacing to the film. Julia Garner is a really good lead. Josh Brolin does a great job at playing this worried, sick, angry, but also caring parent. Austin Abrams and Alden Ehrenreich, hope I'm saying that name right, also play really fun characters. This movie really grabs your attention with a compelling plot right at the very start. At 2:17, every child from a class wakes up, gets out of bed, and runs into the dark to never come back. It's such a fascinating mystery, and it's very fascinating to follow it through the eyes of all these different characters. Unfortunately, I do think that towards the end, the narrative did start to lose me a little. Everything makes sense, but once clarity was brought to the mystery, it just didn't really do that much for me. However, I do think this movie is more about the journey than the destination, and hey, the journey is pretty damn amazing. And at number 9, I have Zootopia 2. Look, I didn't really have any high expectations going into this one, given Disney's recent track record with animated movies, and I also found the trailers of this movie to be a tad annoying, but man, this movie hit. I have a lot of nostalgia associated with the first one, so naturally this one isn't going to be on the same level to me, but it is very close. They managed to pull off another really captivating story in this world, once again finding really clever ways to tackle real-world issues like systemic racism. All of the new characters, except for that beaver, are really good, and you know what? Even the twist villain had me fooled. At number 8, I have Thunderbolts. This movie really took some of the least interesting Marvel characters from over the last several years, got them all together on this kind of ragtag team, and made one of their most emotionally charged movies, period. I mean, seriously, the bond between the characters and the arc they go through together is something truly beautiful, and it makes it all the more frustrating that this is one of the very few flops for the Marvel franchise. Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, Lewis Pullman, and David Harbour are genuinely acting their asses off in this great movie about mental health. But besides this beautiful emotional story, the action and pacing is also very, very strong. They're able to have this dark, gritty tone to the movie while still making it very beautiful to look at. It's just a very tightly edited, really, really solid story. I think this movie can work outside of the Marvel universe too. It's really one of the best Marvel movies, and I think with time, lots more people are going to come to agree with that. My number 7 spot is gonna go to Bring Her Back. This movie comes from the same people that brought you Talk to Me a couple years back, which is a really interesting horror movie, and this one is an even higher step up in quality from that one. It's a very dark, disturbing story that really leaves you on the edge of your seat wanting to uncover more of the mystery around this mother and her child. The whole time there's just eerie, off-putting things going on that honestly felt more scary than just your simple horror movie jump scare. It's honestly quite a depressing horror movie too, but a very fascinating one. I wish it went a little more in depth on some of the supernatural parts of it, but that's really the only complaint I can give. Then at 6, I have what is almost certainly going to be the Oscar baby of this year, One Battle After Another. I'll admit that I find this movie to be just a smidge overrated, but that's honestly a testament to just how great this movie truly is when, if I were to rate it, I would give it probably 4.5 stars or a 9.5 out of 10. It's just that good. Paul Thomas Anderson is a very beloved director, and this movie has his talents on full display. It is shot really well with so many uniquely intense and chaotic sequences, and a great cast to support it. Leonardo DiCaprio and Benicio del Toro are hilarious, Sean Penn is menacing, and Chase Infinity proves she has a very successful career ahead of her. It's a nearly 3-hour film that just keeps you fully engaged the whole time, with another large part of that being how unexpectedly comedic the film is. But there's also some really interesting themes tackled in this one that I don't think you necessarily see in every movie commonly, and it really sets it apart. There are some little nitpicks I can make, like how basically the main character Bob is a very useless main character and doesn't really accomplish anything in this movie, but I'll just leave it at this. It's an incredible movie, and if you think you won't enjoy it, honestly, you probably will. I think there's a little bit of something for everyone to have in this movie. Getting into the top 5 now, we have the final movie I saw in theaters this year, that being Marty Supreme. You've all seen the marketing for this movie. It's insane, hilarious, and in your face. And man, I am glad Timothée Chalamet did all that because, 1, this movie is huge now due to it. This is the most packed my local theater has been since like Avengers Endgame. And 2, because this is exactly how the character Marty Mauser is in the movie. This guy is egotistical, way too confident, charismatic, and just so exciting to follow. He's a piece of shit, but you just can't help but root for him when you're watching him. I know this movie may not seem that exciting when you just hear that it's a ping pong movie, but it is so much more than that. It's just kind of hard to describe. The cast is all just so great. You have Tyler the Creator giving his first ever acting performance, and he does really good. I mean, even Kevin O'Leary does a good job in this, although he's kind of just playing himself. This was just such a fun watch with a really powerful story and ending. And then, of course, at 4, I have Sinners. It's everyone's favorite movie this year, and it's easy to see why. Ryan Coogler is just an amazing storyteller and world builder, immediately immersing you in the story within the first minute. Everything from beginning to end here is truly awesome. Michael B. Jordan gives a generational performance. Miles Catton is amazing. I love Jack O'Connell's energy. Dude, this movie is just so damn great. It's been a while since I've seen it, and honestly, I can't even pinpoint why I wouldn't give it 5 stars. But I did just have a more deep connection to my top 3 this year, which are next to follow. So yeah, with my 3rd place, I'm going with Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. The Knives Out movies are great. I'm not head over heels over the first 2, but they are really entertaining murder mysteries, all centered with the great Daniel Craig as Detective Benoit Blanc. And Wake Up Dead Man is easily my favorite of the 3. It's the most stylized one yet, with impeccable visuals, and great chemistry between Daniel Craig and Josh O'Connor's character, which Josh O'Connor gives a generational performance in this movie. He is easily one of the most compelling characters this year. The mystery is just such an interesting one to follow, and the whole supporting cast does an amazing job. I'm also not like a person of faith. I don't really believe in God personally, but it's movies like this that can make me understand Christianity and, you know, maybe just make me have a little bit of faith. And then my runner-up, my number 2, I'm going with Frankenstein. The story of Frankenstein is up there with one of the best in fiction, and Guillermo del Toro's version of it is perfect to me. There's very few movies you will find with this level of visual sauce. I mean, every shot in this movie is just genuinely gorgeous. The whole scene where Victor is climbing to the top of the castle in the rain was outstanding. It's one of the coolest scenes this decade. Jacob Elordi does a great job playing Frankenstein's monster as well, which kind of surprised me. He seems like a very unconventional pick to play someone like Frankenstein's monster, but man, once you see his eyes, it just all makes sense. It's the emotion he's able to convey with his eyes on an essentially lifeless being. It is beautiful. And the way it all wraps up is also just so incredible. That final shot is one of those scenes where you just cry from the sheer beauty of it all. However, there is one movie that I liked more than all the rest, and for me, that's gotta be Superman. This is what every superhero film should strive to be. It is the most perfect embodiment of hope in film that I can think of. It's something that everyone really needs to see once in their life. I find the very bright, bubbly visual style to work extremely well with Superman as a character, and the way James Gunn directs the action sequences is so creative and just exciting to watch. David Cornsweet does an incredible job as Superman, and he is easily the best portrayal of the character in live action. He's silly, but he's not afraid to show his emotions, and he gives some monologues that just make me tear up every time. I'm telling you right now, 10 years from now, this movie is going to be in the same conversations as Sam Raimi's Spider-Man and The Dark Knight Rises, you know, all the all-time great superhero movies. So yeah, that's gonna do it for my list. Let me know what you would have for yours, and if there's any movies you think I missed, and yeah, I'll see you guys next year.